This is heads up and a spin and go. I took the other guy out and have a 2-1 chip lead. Pick up a 6-4 offsuit, and I open min raise, and he calls. Flop comes out 3-9-5, two clubs. So great flop for me for a couple reasons. Obviously, I have a straight draw, and this flop is not likely to hit his range. He's not likely to call pre-flop with a hand that contains a 3. There's very few hands that are going to do that. If he has a 5, he's not going to be able to withstand multiple barrels on turn and river on most runouts. And if he has a 9, he's going to call, and on a lot of runouts, I'm not going to be able to get him off a 9. But usually this flop is going to miss him. So great flop for me all around. Well, he checks to me, and like I said, I expect to pick up the pot here most of the time, and I bet out. But he calls. So at this point, he could have any of the gut shots, 8-6, 8-7, 7-6. He could have a 5. I think it's a little bit less likely he has a 9. I think possibly he's leading out with a 9, but I'm not certain. So I think it's more of a 5, or maybe some of the gut shot hands is what I would think would be calling here. So anyway, the turn comes out at 10, which doesn't change the board, and he checks to me. And I decide to keep up the pressure. At this point in the game, he had not seen me. He had not seen any of my bluffs really. This tournament this spin and go had not been going on really that long. I took the other guy out fairly quickly, and he hasn't seen me do anything crazy, so there's no real reason he should think that I'm going to be bluffing in this spot. So that's the game within the game, what's going on. So I bet out here, and he calls. So again, I still think he has the same range. The turn comes out a king, and he checks to me. Now, I think a good player here would, if I bet here, depending on my sizing, what I end up doing is shoving. But I think versus a good player, that's not going to work very good, because what hand would I be betting flop, turn, and river that is betting that size? I think I'm doing. I think I'm significantly narrowing my value range down versus if I were to bet like 80 chips here. I could be value betting, like trying to get calls from marginal hands, so it might look more bluffy shoving. But I don't think he's thinking about any of this type of stuff. I have no reason to think he's some high-level genius player. And I'm trying to get him to fold a 5 and an occasional 9. And if he has all the gut shot hands, they're going to be folding anyway. So he does go ahead and check, and I bet out, all in. So in real time, he is tanking here. So by him tanking, I already know that means that he likely has a single pair hand, and probably a 9 at this point. And he's deciding, can he hero call with a 9? So maybe he has a hand like 9-8, 9-7. That's what I think he has at this point, because he's tanking. I suppose you could have a hand like 10-7 of clubs or something. I think that raises at least turn. Yeah, so yeah, he has a 9. Is what I'm thinking when he's tanking. But what you're about to see is one of the strangest things I've seen, and I played millions of hands over a very long period of time, and I'm sure there's been other weird hands, but this may take the cake. This is so strange. And I'm gonna even, okay, I'll just let it play, because this is fascinating to me. I don't know what happened. He calls, and wait till you see. He flips over the 7 deuce. He called me with 7 high. He called a pre-flop with 7 high. He called the flop with 7 high. On the flop, he has a back door. He needs like 8-6 to make a straight, or runner clubs to make some super low flush. He has no pair, no draw. he calls me on the flop. So he calls me pre-flop, calls me on the flop, calls me on the turn with no draw, just no draw. So drawing to pairs at this point. The river comes out of king, and he calls me with 7 deuce. And it's right. I mean, I don't even know what to say. So the funny thing is, the 2 hands he beats that I can contain are 6-4 and 4 deuce. And he has no real reason to think that I'd be raising and playing 4 deuce. So it's really, I mean, I guess 6-4 either, but so, I mean, he's beating like 2 hands. You could just shuffle a deck and take 2 random cards out and look at this board. Remove the 7 hearts and the 2 of clubs. Just take 2 and put that board and take 2 random cards out. And they're going to beat 7 deuce basically every time. So he doesn't even beat a randomly generated hand. And either way, it was fascinating. It was so funny at the time when I watched this, because I was playing and I was just chilling with some friends that were watching a movie. I had 420 chips left. I didn't even finish the game. I was laughing so hard that I immediately opened up the replay and got a phone and recorded the replay of the hand. And I didn't even come back to the game to try to beat him, because I mean, I'm sure I could have beat him, but I mean, obviously anyone can beat anyone. It's poker, but I think I would have had, especially after seeing this, a pretty significant edge on how to go about extracting value from him. But either way, one of the funniest hands I've ever seen. Don't know what he was doing, don't know what he was thinking, but he played the 7 deuce to the fullest, called me with the 7 high, and beat the 6 high. That, folks, is the read of a lifetime.